Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Coastal Bros. It's actually a special edition. It's called the Black Monday in the NFL for all the firings that are happening on Monday, day after the regular season, like every year. Two Wallets are my favorite time of the year because we got to say who should be gone, who's gone, who should be going places, and do you think these guys will get another job? So let's start off, and we'll start off with, I guess, the biggest surprise to some people, but not me and not you, because we've talked about this for, I want to say, the whole entire year.
Yeah,
Um,
this whole season. Yeah.
the whole season saying that those quarterback coach is not a good fit. You had the coach, you had the quarterback leaving. I had the head coach leaving. I guess I won that one, even though we didn't bet a drink on that. But
No, we
no
didn't
case,
bet,
no
but
case.
we
But I
both.
did win. Yeah,
No,
I
go
said
ahead.
it. Oh, I said it. I said it. And if anybody's listening, he's talking about where you're talking about Brian Flores. Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins was released, cut, sayonara, hit the road, Jack. He is gone. I
Don't you
have
come
thoughts
back
about
no more,
this.
no more.
I knew he was going to leave because he didn't want Tua Tungavailoa. He wanted Joe Burrow. He wanted maybe a different quarterback. Maybe even wanted Deshaun Watson. But the problem was the general manager is like, no, I like Tua. We drafted Tua. Let's build Tua could be not maybe Dan Marino, but close to a Dan Marino. Maybe Bob Greasy, one of the all-time Dolphin quarterbacks. Even though I like him, I just didn't like him with that head coach. That's why I didn't like him in the system. Your thoughts, Mr. Two Wallets, on
Whew. Was I surprised that Flores was fired? Kinda. The only reason why I say kinda is because we never think Ross is going to pull the trigger. But then at the same time, when Ross does pull the trigger, he doesn't really hire anybody that we really like or think is going to work. Speculation has gone behind Jim Caldwell and Jack Del Rio. I do not agree with the Jack Del Rio. Big O, if you're watching, sorry, dude. Jim Caldwell, I do agree. But I do have a place where I do believe what Brian Flores was doing in Miami will work in this organization, but not Miami.
okay, well, before we get there, this is also
Okay.
another track record of the failed Bill Belichick tree. Another assistant fails. Now, you can call Mike Brable probably about maybe the successful coach under the Bill Belichick tree. We'll see how he does this playoff season. But Bill Bryan did not do that well in Texas. Uh, uh was it Charlie Weiss, Roman Cornell, uh, maybe Josh McDaniels, even though Josh McDaniels probably a close second to Vrabel when it comes to a head coach. He's the only one to get Tim Tebow a playoff victory. So where where do you see um, Brian Flores
Brian Flores.
go?
All right. Coach Flo. This team is going to need a new offensive coordinator. He will learn his mistakes. Coach Flo will learn his mistakes from Miami and take his talents from South Beach to Chi-Town. Hear me out.
As the head coach?
Yes, he will become the head coach. And then the defensive coordinator is a guy who just got fired. Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator in Chicago. They trade Mac. Ooh, excuse me. They trade Mac and find a way to fill the holes in the offensive line. And that defense is old, which is the reason why Flo is going to be perfect Flo and Nick Fangio together, they're both kind of hard-headed people. Last time we saw two hard-headed people in Chicago, that was one of the greatest defenses ever assembled in the history of football in 1985. Just saying. When it comes to Chicago, they need hard knocks in Chicago. They haven't had that for a while. If not one, you got to bring both because you need that. You need somebody who's going to fully command the whole staff, which is something that we did see Flo do and something that Vic Fangio couldn't do. But what Vic Fangio did was run that whole defense as a proper unit for a few years in Denver.
Well, now since we are talking, and that might be a good fit. Since we're talking about Chicago, the reason why they have an opening is because they let go of Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, it was time to come. He is another guy that I said falls into my umbrella of because you're a great coordinator does not mean you're a good head coach. He was a great coordinator in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, he got him a head coaching job. Andy Reid got him a head coaching job with Chicago. They tried with Trubisky. It didn't work. Okay. They got Justin Fields. Yeah. They got Justin Fields. Problem is Matt Nagy's already lost the team. He lost the fan base.
Yeah.
So it was a no-win situation. I feel bad for Justin Fields because I'm hoping whoever they get into Chicago will let him do what he does and build around him. Kind of like what Philadelphia was doing with Jalen Hurts. Because those two guys could be the team. The team, if they can fill it, Philadelphia's might have that look.
Did you just admit that?
Yes,
you're the same guy who didn't believe in Jalen Hurts.
Right, he proved me wrong. There's a lot of people that prove you wrong this season. Jalen Hurts proved me wrong, but we're not. We'll save that for Wednesday.
No, name one coach that proved me wrong.
No. I'm talking about quarterbacks.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
quarterback. So we'll save that for Wednesday show. Okay, we'll save that for Wednesday show. But for this particular coach's show, if they can get a coach that can in Chicago that will let Fields do what he does, okay, and who I like for over there, Jim Harbaugh. I like Jim Harbaugh to go to Chicago, get out of Michigan. Look, just leave Michigan. You're good. Go to Jim. Go back to the NFL. Go back to the NFL. Okay. Go to Chicago. Take Justin Fields under your ring and say, look, I'm gonna jeopardize my coaching career in the NFL with this guy. I'm hitching my wagon to this quarterback because this quarterback needs a wagon to be hitched.
All right. Unfortunately, I see your 20 and I'll raise you 30.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Okay.
That's okay if the Bluetooth is disconnected. It's all good. I'll raise you 20. Okay. Hear me out. Same coach, different team, new quarterback heading into next season. Let me give you that quarterback first and then see if you see where I'm going with this. Jim Harbaugh, Cam Newton. The defense is ready. The offensive line is set. They have a top 6 running back in the NFL. And I say 6 because maybe there's 2 or 3 that jumped ahead of him this year due to injury. Could you imagine if Matt Rule gets fired, which he's re-interviewing right now in Carolina? We don't know if he keeps the job. Jim Harbaugh, if he wants a job, I'm not going to Chicago, which has offensive line problems, but he has known overnight to rebuild offensive lines. But that defense in Chicago is old. That's something that I believe Brian Flo can do. Now, Jim Harbaugh, who already has had this running back under his system, which means you got a running back who already knows the gaps in the systems and where to run, how to run, and you have a set receiver base, and they got 2 good blocking wide receivers, plus 1 good blocking tight end, plus the tackles are great. Can you imagine Cam Newton in the wishbone with Jim Harbaugh in Carolina?
No. I think Cam's days are done. I'm sorry.
I think he's done too. But if there's anybody who could bring Cam back for just like 1 or 2 seasons until he finds a long-term quarterback, it's Cam and Jim Harbaugh together.
That's interesting. I mean, I get what you're saying because you draft your guy into a new team. You play. Hey, look, I'm gonna play this guy. Hopefully, he can show the new guy the ropes. But I mean, Justin Fields is talent's there already, and he's just like, I don't need to draft anybody. I just got to coach somebody. You know.
Yeah.
So, but all right. But I like where you're going. So that was one of our we're on the hot seat, but we'll get to some other hot seats real quick. The other guy fired, and everybody in Minnesota is applauding this. Mike Zimmer finally let go. So 2-point question. 1, does he ever get another head coaching job somewhere? And 2, who takes over Minnesota?
Now, I know I just harped on Jim Harbaugh to go to Carolina, but the other team to go to would be Minnesota. But for argument's sake, I still believe Jim Harbaugh is best fit in Carolina, even over Minnesota. I know this is an offensive league. Minnesota has been built old school. There's one guy other than Jim Caldwell that I've been kind of keeping a secret that I don't think anybody knows about yet. If you guys watch the show, you guys know how much I love Jim Caldwell. He should be in the NFL. There is rumors and speculation of him being down in Miami. Keith Butler. And I know you're like, who's Keith Butler? Let me say this closer to the mic. For the people who don't know who Keith Butler is, Keith Butler has been the linebackers coach in Pittsburgh since 2003. He then later became the defensive coordinator. I believe he's been the defensive coordinator since 2009. So let me ask you this question. If you want stability in a coach, somebody who worked with Bill Cowher and somebody who's been there for a long time, and I almost can guarantee you where Butler goes, Joey Porter's going. Pittsburgh was known for their physical linebacker play. Minnesota needs help. Defensive line help. Joey Porter is good at that too. And then he finds an offensive coordinator. I do believe he's good at hiring staff. The other one, if it's
Hold
not...
on, can I get one? Can I get one?
Hold on, because there's 2 guys I have for this job. The other one is completely out the box that nobody's thinking about right now. Nobody's
still my guy. I'm gonna be very mad.
Byron Leftwich.
No, okay, that was
can go to Minnesota and find his Dante Culpepper and do what they did.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you want my guy?
Yeah, for Minnesota.
He's in Alabama. He used to be.
I know you ain't talking about Steve Sarkisian.
No. He used to be in Houston, Texas.
Huh?
I think he's in Alabama. Mr. Bill O'Brien. Mr. Bill O'Brien can help that defense in Minnesota, and it goes to Minnesota. It's a good sleeper pick. It's a sleeper pick. They got a great offense. Quarterback or no quarterback, they can throw deep. But Bill O'Brien in Minnesota, I think, fits. He can help that defense build back up to being the defense of the Culpepper years, right? That John Randall type of defense that they were missing for so long that if it wasn't for the field goal kicker missing that kick, they might have had a Super Bowl championship ring already, because they could possibly have beaten Denver and John Elway.
Wow, we're going back that far. Okay.
Right. But Bill O'Brien, I think, staying with the coaches, Bill O'Brien is a good fit in Minnesota. I like Bill O'Brien.
I'd be shocked if after tonight's game if he actually got a phone call. Only because there are so many offensive coordinators right now in the NFL that are going to get like washed through. And Byron Leftwich is probably the number one in Minnesota, which makes sense.
Right. But
I mean, the only
why not
question
bring
is,
that
what do you
defense?
want to leave there and go to my favorite cousins?
That's a problem. So my favorite cousins, you take Bill O'Brien.
It's funny because you saying that. That's the cheaper option, especially when they're paying that quarterback $44 million next year.
Yeah, I got you thinking.
No, you're right. You got me thinking. I went completely out the box with Keith Butler. I mean,
all right. So the next guy we can talk about. All right, so these ones already happened. So we can do real quick. The ones they weren't really fired on Monday. They're most likely fired a couple weeks ago or fired Sunday night. We already talked about Vic Fangio leaving Denver. Urban Meyer obviously left Jacksonville, and John Gruden left Vegas. Right. So I got a couple things.
I didn't even write Oakland. Wow. I didn't even write Vegas down yet. So I'm
well, okay. So
I'm gonna wait and see moment with them.
Does Rich Bisaccia, I think that's probably pronounced his last name, does he get an interview?
Yes.
Does he get the head coaching job, even if they don't win a playoff game? Because nobody, including both of us, had them even winning 2 games after John Gruden left, especially getting beat combined 84-20 against Kansas City twice.
You just answered my question from earlier. What coach did I not believe in? This guy taking over.
So you don't believe in this guy? I actually do. Even if they lose to Cincinnati this weekend, the dude beat, at the time, all teams that Dave beat were in playoff contention. The Colts, the Chargers. Who else did he beat? I know he beat a bunch of them. Pull this up real quick. Go ahead. You while I look up, go ahead and say something. I know you're gonna say something. Go ahead. What were you talking about? You got something? We can't hear you. Can't hear you. You're on mute. You muted yourself. Unmute. There we go. Says your mic is not connected. All right. Well, while he's waiting for that technical difficulties, so the Chiefs, after getting blown out, they beat and lost to the Bengals. They beat the Cowboys, playoff contention. They beat the Browns, playoff contention. They beat the Colts, playoff contention. They beat the Chargers.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My mic had some technical difficulties I'll have to work with later. I'm in a huge question mark for Vegas, only because right now they're in the dance and they found the prettiest girl on the floor to dance with. And I have a feeling by the end of the night they're going to drop her on the floor and then go on to the next girl.
Okay. So I mean, I like it. I think it could possibly be another Romeo Cornell situation like back in Kansas City, where he replaced Todd Haley, replaced Todd Haley, when Todd Haley got fired, and they said okay, and they let him come in for a year, and he played he had the head coach for a year until then they had to let him go. But I think he earned a spot, and I think playoffs or no, I mean, winning the playoffs or not, I think he has a good shot into beating or winning that coaching job. But speaking of guys on the hot seat, though,
The big P.
Pete Carroll, where do you? It's his first time missing the playoffs in a long time, but with Russell Wilson maybe not being there, you had him. We were thinking he was going to go back to college, but I was like, he's never going back to SC. He's not doing that. Does he go to Jacksonville? Does he make his way all if he gets fired? Now he ain't fired yet, but if he gets fired, if they let him go, does he come all the way back? He's going to go to Florida. He come to Florida, team up with no. Does he go?
Not
does he take a
even-
year off?
No, he's done.
He's retired. Retired.
Yeah, I look. I'm one of those guys who love Pete Carroll, but if he still has the guts to do anything, his best bet would be Chicago, only because they're fit to do what he does. The only thing is that, like I said, the defense is old, but he's old.
You got 100
Offensive
people
line-
going to Chicago.
No, like that, but that would be the only team that would make sense to go after Pete Carroll. Jacksonville learned their lesson when they went after Tom Coughlin in the front office, and it didn't work. Khan is not doing that again. He's going to get some fresh legs. Jacksonville is the most interesting team.
Mm-hmm. All right.
They're not gonna bring in a college guy again. That's not gonna happen.
No, I don't see that happening at all.
And honestly, I think we spoke about this. The only reason why they brought in Urban Meyer was for ticket sales.
Yeah, because hey, why not? But all right. So another guy on the hot seat. We were talking about Matt Rule. We talked about Pete Carroll. Ron Rivera. Do you think Ron Rivera, just with the whole maybe the name changing, that maybe possibly the new uniform changing or whatever, new fresh, new start, they go after somebody in the college ranks?
I know this is gonna sound way off, but I think with the way he's run his teams, the only way Ron Rivera leaves is if that owner goes too right now. I think he's the safest hot seat coach in the NFL.
Okay.
He'll be there at least another 2 years.
All right. So Joe Judge is reportedly interviewing for his head coaching job again. So he's on hot seat. Is this smoke and mirrors? Smoke and mirrors until after the playoffs, and then maybe by the end of the playoffs, they let him go and they finally figure something out. Because I don't see Joe Judge there for the draft unless he. How do you interview for a job you've already originally had? Not like he was an interim head coach; he was the head coach. So you can't.
Well, let me make it easy for you. Okay, why is he re-interviewing for a job that he had? Because the general manager resigned. So since he was forced to resign, okay, I'll just say it. He got fired. Okay, and I said it from jump. There was 2 guys in the offseason. He gave huge contracts that he shouldn't have done.
So speaking of general managers, Bill Polian. Does he go to? Can he go to the Giants and redo what he did at Colts and Buffalo?
I have to look at a gentleman that I was looking at to take that job. I forget his name, but let me look. Go ahead. I'm hearing you. Just
Well, I was just saying. I mean, Bill Polian has brought 2 franchises up, Buffalo Bills, and look where they are now, and the Colts. Where I mean, hey, I mean they were a choke job away from going to the playoffs. Now you could say maybe the reality show might have had something to do with it. Maybe a couple COVID or personal things with offensive players and some personal issues with some of the team, you know, or Carson Wentz being Carson Wentz. Uh, you know, I think Frank Wright should be on the hot seat, but I know we don't think he should because
Nope.
he is one of the best running backs in the league, and the second to your man, King Henry, and he doesn't give him the ball. There's a couple of games I can be like, run the ball, and you guys aren't in this situation. But yeah. So did you get that general manager's name yet?
Yes, I did. We talked about this, I believe, about 4 episodes ago. Because I've been calling for his job ever since he hired what's the wide receiver's name from Detroit? And he got the second largest contract in the offseason. Galloway.
Yeah.
That dude will walk into his house and get hurt. Like, I'm sorry. Quentin Harris is the player personnel's, from the Arizona Cardinals. Quentin Harris, player personnel vice president, should get a shot to run the New York Football Giants.
Okay. Well,
he should be number 1 on their list if he's not number 2.
Then there's no need for Joe Judge to interview for a job if they haven't got a general manager. I'm sorry. I hate when that happens. I hate when you keep a head coach and you hire a general manager. If you're going to hire a general manager, let him clean the whole house. Clean everything out. Let him pick the groceries. Some famous coach said. Let him pick the groceries.
I get what you're saying. So you're saying it's like moving into an apartment that already has a refrigerator with groceries in it. You're like, ew, I don't know where these groceries are from.
Exactly.
But I would love, I'm sorry, but I'll take the analogy and switch it to what I think about that organization. If I get into a limo and there's already champagne, and if you don't like champagne, in the mini fridge, there's Coca-Cola or Diet Coke, for if that's what you like. If he goes to New York, he has options.
He ain't got Coke. He got IBC root beer.
But see, at least he has options if he goes to New York. Now, if you want to say a refrigerator, it's like, I'm going to go to Chicago and I'm going to try and change everything they're doing. You ain't got nothing but a refrigerator, and whose food is this?
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think if you're gonna hire a general manager, hire a general manager. Let him pick his head
his own coach.
So, speaking of coaches, Denver. Denver asked to interview somebody today and got granted an interview. And you won't be guess who it is.
No.
Take a guess. You think you guess?
No.
Now it's hilarious.
No. If it's what you say, if it's what you think, no. Absolutely not. So, and if John Elway does not use his veto friends card, he better use it right now.
No. So no. Actually, it's not. It's a scenario that I'm like, okay, because the other offensive coordinator just got fired, so we'll just bring him back if he gets the job. They asked to interview Eric Bieniemy for the Denver job. Matt Nagy can come back and coach.
Eric Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy.
Front door. Are you kidding me?
No, Eric Bieniemy is getting an interview, or possibly getting an interview with Denver. Could you imagine him going to Denver of all teams, the team that almost knocked them out of the second seed, where Tennessee could literally have played their backups that next game. They didn't have to fight, and they had 2 bye weeks. But maybe it's because how well they finished. But Eric Bieniemy, Does he deserve to get an interview? Yes. Does he deserve a head coach?
No.
Okay. Maybe.
No.
I mean, okay, look. What he did the last 2 years with Patrick Mahomes is great. But what he did this year with them finding a way, I mean, it's under Andy Reid's tree. Andy Reid got a little bit more successful tree than
Okay. So let me put in this scenario. So when the quarterback is looking like he's doing too much, isn't that an offensive coordinator job to adjust, reassess, and reassign?
they did readjust.
No, they didn't. You know who picked it up out of those 8 wins in a row? Wasn't that offense?
No, I know it was a defense. The defense
Steve
played better.
Spagnuolo.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Steve Spagnuolo on that defense.
I don't see Steve Spagnuolo getting another job. I don't know if he wants. But I know it's an offensive league. It's an offensive league. Okay, it's an offensive friendly league. And who has the hottest offensive league fans, what they call him, Madden style quarterback in NFL right now is Patrick Mahomes. Who's the offensive coordinator? If he calling plays or not calling plays, who's the offensive coordinator? Eric Bieniemy. Who was everybody last year? How did this guy not have a job? The year before that, how did this guy not have a head coaching job?
There's a reason.
Okay, but I don't see him fitting in Denver because who did they got? Drew Lock. Drew Lock don't play like how he played against Kansas City, the way he played him against them. Teddy Bridgewater?
Nope.
Eric Bieniemy maybe in Jacksonville.
I got a better idea.
Eric Bieniemy in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence? Possibly.
Nope.
Eric Bieniemy in Atlanta with Matt Ryan. I'm just throwing names out there.
Okay.
Where do you see him fit? If he has you have to give him a head coaching job. Where's he going?
Right. And if I'm going to give him a head coaching job, it has to be under the idea that he has a functional quarterback. Okay?
So where's he going?
You ready for this?
Okay.
Denver, with that O-line as constituted, go get Baker Mayfield.
So get Baker get Baker from Cleveland.
Teddy Baker. If the Browns have Teddy Bridgewater with that coach, Kevin Stefanski, they're in the playoffs this year. If Baker Mayfield gets time with Eric Bieniemy and can get him to shut his mouth, I'm talking about Baker Mayfield because all he does is run it. There's talent, real talent in Denver. They have tight ends. They have wide receivers. They don't have the guy who makes that throw. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't make that throw. That's why he's perfect in Cleveland.
Okay. So, real quick, while we wind down, is there a dark horse, funny, never gonna happen coach that out there that you may be like, give this man, maybe he goes somewhere just to sell tickets, just to do something?
I got one that's really obvious that nobody in the world is going to think about.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Let's do it.
The Jacksonville Jaguars should interview Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz.
He will bring a physical brand of football to Jacksonville in a division where they now have the second best quarterback in that division.
Okay.
And in 2 years, he'll be better than Tannehill, which I'll admit right now. Because right now the Colts don't have a quarterback and the Texans have a really good rookie quarterback who I like.
So the guy I'm thinking
Okay.
he hasn't coached in a few years now. Probably a decade. Right? Dust him off the studio lot.
BC?
Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher. Dust him off and give him a head coaching job somewhere. Give him a head coaching
what?
job.
And let his running backs coach be Cordell Stewart.
Go ahead. I like to see him in Indy. In your division with the Titans or the Texans. Because we didn't even talk about boy.
We kind of did. We kind of did, but we didn't go there. Let's just kick the obvious. Lovie Smith is already in Houston.
Yeah.
I don't see any.
Lovie Smith should definitely get a head coaching job. Okay.
Yeah. Lovie Smith should stay in Houston and run that squad.
If I had to choose between Caldwell, Lovie, and Bieniemy, I'm giving Caldwell and Lovie Smith a job before I give Eric Bieniemy a job.
Well, yeah.
Okay. But even though their track record is, 50-50.
Okay.
Caldwell, great. Caldwell, great.
Okay, I was going to say, Caldwell, let's just put this in
Caldwell.
A couple of years after the Detroit Lions went winless, he had the Detroit Lions in the postseason.
Correct. And Lovie Smith took Chicago to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. With Rex Grossman.
But
and he was really gross.
But who was the coordinator for the Colts? Jim Caldwell.
Jim Caldwell.
Right. So Jim Caldwell beat Lovie Smith, technically.
Yes.
That's why that's what I'm saying. But they like offense, but I like that. Now, who I have a problem with, which I'm shocked that he went. And I'm saving this for the last. I've been saving this for the last.
Are you gonna say my guy? That you hate so much?
No. Dan Campbell. How now he should have been fired. And I can't believe he hasn't been fired yet. And I've been waiting. I thought maybe, just maybe, while we're on, I'll get a notification that he got fired. No, nobody got. You want to keep your job? Yeah, yes, I do, sir. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
You need
fire your OC, fire somebody.
Fire Anthony Lynn. Okay. So he fires Anthony Lynn. I like Anthony Lynn. I liked him in LA for a little bit. Even though he was with the Chargers, I liked him. I like him. You know who I like him to go to? I like him to go to Arizona if your boy Leftwich leaves. Because I can look, not Leftwich. I like that guy in Arizona. Not Leftwich is Tampa Bay, but I like Anthony Lynn in Arizona. Now, I know Arizona got the high fly, but I think if Anthony Lynn was in Arizona with that offense, with that structure, you guys don't lose the West. And I damn sure ain't losing to the 49ers like you did this past week.
Okay. If you want another place where Anthony should go, when Brian Flores gets the job in Chicago, Anthony Lynn should go to Chicago with him.
Okay.
Flores, Anthony, and Vic all together.
Okay. With Justin Fields.
Yeah,
with
like
Justin Fields. I like that. I can do that.
Now, the other reason why I love Jim Schwartz in Jacksonville, not only is he a special teams and aggression guy, he's also good with offensive line. We look, before Taylor came out of nowhere and King Henry was dominating the South, everybody forgot about Robinson, that running back in Jacksonville. They got a good running, and Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde and Robinson healthy with Trevor Lawrence and that coach who's crazy. I'm sorry.
Don't forget,
I like crazy coaches.
Don't forget Clark Jr., who tore his ACL.
Man, if they get
They got
one
a
more
team.
wide receiver,
They got a team, and with that one pick, now their number one pick, obviously they're going to say draft lineman, but we'll get to a draft special. But here's a little preview. I think they should trade this pick, trade down for more picks, and build up that offensive line. Get yourself trade down and get a receiver later in the draft in the first round. Trade down, get a receiver later in the first round to go with Clark. Build your offensive line from the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, seventh picks that you got left, because you're going to get multiple picks. You don't need that first round pick. So who needed that first round pick was Detroit or the Giants.
I feel like the Giants need the pick more than anybody else. But then again, if you look at how many people got hurt,
but you can't. If I don't know if you're dropping down to 3 get you something good. I think you need to drop down a little bit more to maybe like the 8th, 9th seed.
I think that's too far. The only thing that does is save you money in a team that needs to spend it.
Yeah, but you got to find the best wide receiver that's out there. Then if you go on number 3, I mean, you can do it number 1, but you need a wide receiver. Unless you pull an Eric Fisher situation and an Orlando Pace situation and draft an offensive tackle in the first round.
Well, it's funny you say that because this offensive draft is loaded. Me personally, I like the pass rusher from Michigan who's said to go number 1. But if
not that team.
Okay, well, this is the episode about coaches. If Jim Schwartz is the coach, he's staying at 1 and he's taking a DN from Michigan. Because that's just what he does. He likes aggression. He likes high motor, high long arm football players. He's done it with his offensive lineman at tackle. I mean, the question is here's another oddball. Would Mike Zimmer consider going to Jacksonville?
Why not? Why not? In Jacksonville reminds me of a team where you got nothing to lose. All you got to do is go up. And if
they remind me of Minnesota before he got to Minnesota.
Okay, I'm gonna use a baseball analogy. Ready? They remind me of the Miami Marlins. Speaking of Florida, when Don Mattingly went to Miami, the pressure of winning a World Series was off. Even a big price, big market team in LA going down to Miami, knowing you ain't gonna win. Let's rebuild it. We'll come up and we'll see where we are. But there's no pressure. That's how I feel about Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a team where there's really not that much pressure. Like there is in Minnesota, who hasn't won a Super Bowl in forever. Like there is in Buffalo, who hasn't won one. They're famous for the 0-4. Like there is in Tennessee, Arizona, Baltimore. The teams that don't really go, that always go, the teams that don't go, there's no pressure in Miami. I'd be pressure from fans because they got a quarterback that they like, what they don't, or something that they don't like, and watch all that stuff.
Okay, I have another guy who I haven't seen or heard of, and I want to say 10 years. It's 2022. I take that back. 5 years. The Houston Texans. That defense was not really a problem. That offense was grossly backdated. Can we bring Mike Martz out of retirement?
in today's NFL?
The only other guy that would make sense, if not Jay Gruden, would be Brian Schottenheimer in Texans. And that's if they fire the coach now.
Jay Gruden is not going to get a job. No.
John Gruden's not getting a job.
Nobody named Gruden's going to get a job. I don't think. I think when whatever comes out in Washington comes out and Jay Gruden's on it also, no one's getting a job. And then you name Gruden ain't getting a job.
Jay Gruden's going to get a job in the NFL.
I don't think so. Mike Martz, possibly. I mean, pretty old in the tooth.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
So
I did hear something silly this morning, though. I heard somebody say Rex Ryan to Miami. Can I just laugh hysterically at that one? He is the hugest Tua hater he is the biggest Tua hater I think I've ever heard. And I'm going to say for the record, since I'm on camera and it can't be taken back, I don't hate Tua. I don't like Tua in Miami because Ross don't get it right.
Well, but you didn't like Tua in Miami because of Flores. Now Flores ain't there. We'll see who they get.
That's what scares me even more. If Tua goes to the New Orleans Saints, the Saints are in the playoffs.
Okay, so speaking of hot seats, we didn't let this guy, and we're gonna leave it with this guy. This guy.
Not even close.
Why not?
Blank check. That's all I need to say. Sean Payton, blank check. Here you go.
Go get me.
He took a team with no quarterback and nearly got into the postseason. The only other team I've seen do that.
And they would have been one and done. They would have lost to Dallas. I don't think they would have beat Dallas. I think they would have lost to Dallas. But I'm just saying, if he has a blank check, does he go get Deshaun Watson?
Nope, you can't afford him.
You got a blank check.
No, he has a blank check for his job. Hey, I say, look, if you want the truth when it comes to the quarterback situation in New Orleans, you know how much I like Jameis, that weirdo, okay? You give him one more year to see if he can get it right.
You got a blank check.
Yeah, he does.
Okay, I'm giving back some of that blank check money, and I'm going to give myself Deshaun Watson.
Is Deshaun Watson going to be able to play this year?
Deshaun Watson going to play any year. I don't think Watson's going anywhere.
Question mark.
But if he is going to play and he's eligible to play, because all now he was eligible to play this year, they didn't put him on no restriction list.
He refused to play for that organization, and we cannot go into the details why.
I understand that, but I'm just saying somebody could have drafted him again, or traded for him.
They were asking for three firsts.
I understand, but the price tag was really, really high. However, okay, so I think Peyton is not on the hot seat this year, but if they don't do anything next year, he might be on the hot seat next year. But
no, I don't care if that dude. Look, I know this is going to sound really, really bad, but you really got to look at it really, really closely. He's the Jeff Fisher of the NFC, except with a Super Bowl win. All his teams do is compete. They never come out flat. And I know everybody's going to say, well, oh, he was the coach of the Rams. Yeah. Do you guys remember who built that Rams team that we keep looking at? All they did was add an offense to what he built on defense.
All right. So I'm going to leave you with this closing remark. Why isn't Jeff Fisher another head coaching job?
Well, to tell you the truth, he's not going to get one this year. He's been tied to the John Gruden nonsense. So the fact that he's even tied with the John Gruden, even if it's false, nobody's going to take that shot.
But all right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for our coaches special. Enjoy it. Like I said, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, at Twitch TV. You can check us out there live every Wednesday night. Facebook live every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. You can also listen to the shows, any show on the podcast at Sports Daddy TV on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, any podcast available. Or you can watch us on YouTube. Put us on the TV while you're doing your chores. And don't forget to check out this week playoff edition Daddy Daughter Picks. Are we going to get it in the car with Joey Two Wallets for the playoffs?
The show is transitioning from podcast to YouTube. Coming soon near you.
All right. Like I said, don't forget in the car. 2 wallets. Okay. And also later on, we've already had a sneak peek. Don't forget Dolphin Talk or On the Road with SoCal, as we like to call it now. He'll be dropping up some stuff down, talking all Dolphins. So.
Okay, and I have a last question for you before we leave. And because this is leading towards a different episode, but who is your NFL coach of the year?
Okay, so NFL Coach of the Year. Well, I would have said Frank Wright if they would have made the playoffs. I would have. But of all the teams that are going on, that are going in to playoffs, I'm gonna say Coach of the Year. Kind of stumped me here. I wasn't ready for this question. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark, and I'll just say,
go right ahead.
Old boy from Arizona.
Wow. The only reason why I'm against my squad for Coach of the Year because I was going to put more pressure on him that he don't need. But mine is an oldie but a goodie. The best coach in the NFL has been the best coach in the NFL for the last 20 years. Bill Belichick is the NFL's Coach of the Year. He spent the money. He rebuilt the team that did not look like last year's team. And he took a rookie quarterback. As I said, Bill Belichick said, like Bill Belichick would do, and he would go to the postseason. I also said that he'd win the division only because me and you personally keep arguing over Buffalo. When Buffalo is one and done, we will have this conversation again about Buffalo.
Okay.
Because they can't run the ball and they can't stop the run.
My honorable mention is going to be
the kid from Cincinnati.
Zach Taylor.
Yeah, Zach Taylor from Cincinnati. Yeah.
Zach Taylor.
He's number 2.
He's number 2. He should actually, if I had to change my guess, I'll change my pick. I'll say Zach Taylor gets it just for the fact
Taylor. Yeah, we're in agreement. If Bill Belichick doesn't win it, Zach Taylor should get it.
He should. I'm going to actually, you know what? I'm changing my pick to Zach Taylor, not Arizona. I'm going to say
let's agree.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
let's agree.
What he did with Joe Burrow and coming off that injury and making Jamar Chase a superstar without a semi-run game and
no offensive line.
Yes, no offensive line, but also got Higgins. Don't forget Higgins. Okay, no Joe Nixon. In and out.
Boyd still on the team?
Boyd, he was there except for my fantasy team because he wasn't on that team.
But, no, because I know he's a slot, but like, is he hurt or?
I think he might be hurt, but he might also just not get touches.
and I think I told you in the middle of the season, their tight end, he's been there a couple of years. He's most likely coming back to Cincinnati next year. He's going to be my backup tight end on my fantasy next year.
So
I just don't remember the kid's name, but he's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'll go with Taylor. But all right, guys. Well, we got to get going. We got to watch that national championship game. You guys have a great
And
night.
this was Black Monday.
Yes, sir. All right, guys.
Coming out on Tuesday.
All right. You guys have a great night. We will talk to you Wednesday night.